How was your week?
It was good. We had a lot of fun. Karis played really well and enjoyed herself, but I was so ready to get home.
Were you?
Yeah, where we were at the Orlando or Orange County Convention Center. They had 150 courts set up.
Wow.
Courts, not even teams. Like that was just 150 courts just in this, like where we were. And then there was a whole nother building that housed more. There were 4,016 U teams.
Wow.
That's a lot of people.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was glad to leave there every day at 2:30 and go back to my little Airbnb with.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it was fun. We had a really good time. We went down to Disney Springs one day, and then we did Top Golf one day, and the girls went to the arcade and did a go-kart. You know, so they got to do some fun stuff besides just playing volleyball the whole time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. But I was so ready to get home.
Oh, I bet you were. Yeah, I bet you were. Oh, but that's so great. And it's so nice you had that time with Karis.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot of funny things that happened, and you know, now I'll say something and she'll just kind of giggle or you know whatever because it's just between the two of us. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
I love that. So, who took care of all your stuff? Was it
Brady?
Brady did it all.
Yeah, he actually did. He did all the cooking on Monday and Tuesday because I got back later on Monday. And I just was so tired on Tuesday. He looked at me and goes, "Are you going to come in?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to come in. I'm going to come in." And then later in the morning at God, I just looked at him. I'm like, "I just can't. I'm so tired." So yeah, so he did it all. He took care of everything. So we had a couple people.
Is that the first time he's done that for you? Like for that long?
Yeah. He's been gone more than I have. Like he went for a week to help his mom. Right. And then he was gone for like a 4-day weekend or something, fishing with some friends. But yeah, this is the longest that I've been gone where he had to do more.
Wow. So how did that feel, leaving it up to him? Because he obviously did a good job. Was it like a relief for you to know that, you know, you could go away for a few days and everything just,
still be standing when I got back?
Yeah, that he could handle it, you know, brilliantly on his own, and you could. Yeah. Because having your own business, one of the struggles is, for me, I know at least, is walking away for a few hours even. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm going to leave things to other people and the world's going to fall apart. And it's not necessarily that I don't trust the team. It's that I have my own process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have the way I like things done. Mm-hmm. So last week, we had a couple people that came in to wrap and I wasn't here. And so I was like, how's this going to go? You know, and they did fine. As far as I can tell, you know, but I haven't bagged any caramels. So I don't know if some of them are not twisted properly or, and that's probably a good thing because I'm so much more of a perfectionist.
Right.
And, you know, and sometimes that can slow things down a little bit. But yeah, so they came in and they wrapped and he bagged up a bunch of caramels and then he cooked on Monday and I was like, wow, I mean, he can do a lot.
So when are you coming out to California then? That's my next question.
I'm thinking next week.
Perfect, I'll be here.
Like Brady said, California.
Yeah, Brady's like,
I don't think so. Give him at least a couple weeks, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he says no, we're going together.
Oh, good. Bring him.
She said, oh, good.
Well, that's awesome. That's good. That's
because this is the first time that I've really been gone where production continued. normally it just kind of stops, but we just didn't have we couldn't stop. We had to keep going because we have a bunch of big events coming. So yeah, so it was interesting. It was a little like, yeah, but then I think it helped being as far away as I was. And then Kara's having the volleyball stuff because that really kept my attention. So I really only thought about it a couple times while I was gone, which is rare. So that was good. I had distraction, so that helped.
Right.
Yeah. It's different than just going and laying on a beach, because then I would have been like, how are things going? And what are you doing? And, questions.
So what type of events do you usually, are these the weekend events, or are they like custom like caramel, like a wedding reception gifts or stuff like that?
So we do all sorts. The events that we've had, I keep looking at my calendar, that's why I'm looking like that. So a couple weeks ago, we had an event down at the beach in Lewis, and it was called Strawberries and Sangria. And it was really just people, there were vendors there that brought their different wines and sangrias and fruits and whatever. There were some people that made chocolate covered strawberries or, that kind of stuff. And then there were a bunch of vendors like us. We sold caramels. The people next to us made bookmarks of some sort. Somebody else was making wreaths. Another person was doing painted signs. Just a ton of different type of craft vendors. So that's more of what we do on the weekends. But then we also do, I'll do, like right now I'm getting ready to create a gift tag for the top of a 4-count caramel box for a shower here in a couple weeks. And then I'll have one that I'll have to create for a wedding in October. So I have like those kinds of events, but I don't really go to those. I just make sure they get them. And then the weekend events are more like festivals and farmers markets.
So what do you prefer, like looking forward, which would you prefer? Do you prefer the on-site, or do you prefer larger online orders? What's easier? Like, what is sort of, do you have a vision there, or is it just sort of still in motion? I mean, I'm sure you still want to be at some of these live events, because making that contact with other people is, well, first of all, it's fun, right? And yeah, and you get to engage with people and hear their feedback and, talk to people outside of the kitchen that you're in all the time. But like, when you envision Hope's Caramels growing, do you see the online business, like, do you see it continuing with the smaller orders, or are you kind of looking to do more of these larger corporate event, like consistent subscription based even orders?
I would prefer having a larger online presence, as far as I really prefer to have more orders online. We do enjoy the in-person, but it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a whole lot of work, because it's lugging, it's packing up the tent and all that kind of stuff. And then it's putting all the caramels in the cooler, especially at this time of year, because they melt in the sun. So we have to freeze it all. And then getting it to wherever we're getting and setting up. And then we've got the whole day of selling, and then everything has to be taken down and everything has to come back to the shop. So there's just, it's not just like, oh, hey, it's, 4 or 5 hours. It can be 12 to 13 hours.
Got it.
And especially like the one we did down at the beach, we left the house around 5:30 that morning. So I was up by 4:30 just to drive down. We had to come up to the shop, go back down to Lewis, then come back up to the shop, and then home at the end of the day. Yeah. So it's just a lot. That's a lot. So I don't mind doing some of the events, but right now we're kind of backloading because we need revenue, right? And our revenue drops for the first 6 months, 7 months of the year. And then things start to kind of like come back together, because people are starting to get to fall, and people are like, oh, caramels, it's fall. And like, caramels could be eaten every day of the year. It doesn't have to just be fall and winter. or then you have people doing gifts, and you have companies looking for corporate gifts. And so our last 4 to 5 months of the year, that's really where we make most of our money in the year.
Yeah, the Christmas, like the corporate party gift bags and stuff like that.
And then people, teacher gifts. And I mean, there's a lot of people that send them as Christmas gifts, so they'll send them, so we do a lot of online orders around Christmas time. I mean, we're shipping sometimes 30 boxes a day out. So, but yeah, so I mean, to have the online grow is important, at least to me it is, because right now, like looking at the next month, we have something every single weekend in July, except for this Saturday. And, so we're not just working during the week, now we're working Saturday as well. And I get it. It's our own business. It's a small business, you're going to have that. But you kind of miss having the weekend. And now that the kids are home, they're home for the summer, and you don't want it just to be working.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't mind doing those a couple times, once a month, maybe two, but not every single weekend.
Yeah. So I may ask a question on that. Do you, so you want to grow the online portion of your business so that it will, produce more of a consistent income without you having to like physically show up, right? That's what the thing. And then, do you have a number in mind of like how many you need to sell, or what you want to like gross or profit each month to sort of make you happy, right? Like to get where you want to be, like a first maybe setting or first goal of like, I want to reach X in profit a month. And then we can, sort of like breathe and, maybe do one of these events like once a month or something like that. Right. So do you have something in mind like that?
Sort of, not exact. I know what we bring in for the market and what we bring in online a month, and it is a vast difference. So like one of the markets we'll go to this month or in July is a 2-day. It's the Saturday and Sunday, and it's at Winter Museum and Gardens, and we will probably make $5,000 those 2 days. So, and then you compare that to what we make online, and it's like not even, my husband's making funny faces over here because he's like not even close.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we could work backwards, right? To get to your goal online, I mean, and you'll still do obviously like lucrative events, right? You're not going to like miss those opportunities.
Correct.
But if you can make more of a consistent income online, that would be ideal. And, is that okay? And then, so it's just a matter of getting your online marketing up to that point to where you're attracting that or selling on a more bulk, like to larger platforms or whatever, to where you're making that consistently.
Yeah, Brady just joined, I say just, like several months ago, joined Fair.
Oh, yeah.
It is an online wholesale market. So any companies can go on there and look for whatever they're looking for. And so we have one in Oregon that has ordered from us 3 times now, I think, 4 times. You want to come over here too? So they've ordered from us 4 times, and they found us through Fair, but they're the only company that has ordered from us through there.
Okay. So it's more of a thing of like creating a larger online footprint so that people can find you online and order online, and then those sales sort of go, get driven up, and then you can begin to start to spend some money in advertisements and things like that to increase sales and all of that. Okay.
Right.
I just wanted to understand.
And I feel like that's where a lot of the stuff that you guys have taught us to do comes in. I just haven't,
it's a lot.
It's hard. Well, and especially because I'm working every day, you know, all day long, making and wrapping and doing whatever with caramels. So it's hard on a day like today where I've wrapped all day, because I can't multitask, where when it's a cooking day, I can multitask a little bit more because I'm cooking. And so while the pot's doing its thing, I can sit, but I'm constantly up and down and up and down and up and down through the process. So I just don't have that time just to sit and do just what I need to do on the computer.
No, and that's completely understandable. And I think you said your son is helping you with that. So, I mean, obviously, if you can maybe help him, you know, direct him in like some of the ways that that we've showed you, or that you've been taught, or the resources that you have access to, that he could start to implement. Or if you just decide, you know what, I'm going to take, you know, today, and I'm just going to do this for today, then you're going to work on your business instead of just in your business, right?
Right.
You know, because it's hard as a business owner to get a lot of this stuff done. And, you know, what we don't want is for it to be, you know, overwhelming, but we do want you to be like, okay, step by step, like do this. And you actually have a lot of things going for you, right? You already are in business. You already have like a customer base. You already are making money with your business. You've got a Facebook page. You've got, you know, your Etsy shop going on that you want to transition into your own personal website. And you've got a lot of things, right? And I think, did you have your GMB already, your Google My Business? Yeah. See, so you've got a lot of things already going on. It's just a matter of like, sort of building those out to a place that's creating more traffic for you, organic traffic, right? And then you can get to a place where you can run some paid traffic and start to grow, you know? But yeah,
for me, a lot of it's consistency. You know, I'm really good if I have some time, and then I'll, you know, shoot some stuff out, and then I will be like, it'll be crickets for days upon days upon days. And that's the worst thing you can do with social media, because you kind of get lost, you know, the less that you post and things like that. So that's,
do you have a customer list? Let's just ask that.
Because Etsy doesn't give us any of that, and neither does Square.
Square doesn't keep a list of emails for people that have purchased from you?
They keep them, but they don't give those to us.
Really?
They don't share those.
I wonder,
So there needs to be, I would suggest, starting to gather that information on the front end somehow, right? Like a name and an email address. I mean, it would be preferable if they had a phone number, because then you could, you know, maybe text them or something. But if you could just start getting a name and an email address of existing customers and start building out your customer list, you'd probably realize you have a lot of people. And then those are going to be your people that you either continue to market to via email or a phone call or a text message, right? Or something that you could even like decide to do, like, you know, Hope's VIP, you know, shoppers, or your, you know, to where you have them in your own sort of group instead of just your Facebook page that will, you know, that you can post and they will see it guaranteed, sort of thing. But then they also feel very special in that I'm part of something, you know, like I'm part of this special shopping group, and I have like I get like a discount, or I get this little, you know, perk, right? For being a part of Hope's, you know, thing. So I think probably the first thing would be to like, that way you're not like diluting all your marketing efforts into like all these new people all the time. And then you kind of like, so, you know, like even when you go to these events, having like a sign up sheet, you know, sign up for, you know, discounts, right? Just like kind of have that, and people will put their name down in an email and their contact information, and, you know, and then you start to grow that out, and then you can remarket to them or retarget to them, especially if it could be somebody that visits your booth, tastes something, walks away, but then they put their name down, and then you reach out to them, they're like, oh my God, I love that, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
You know, so that way, they are remembering you, you're sort of staying in their mind, you know, on a more regular basis. Not that people eat caramels every day, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like you want a regular group of people so that you're not always having to sell to somebody new all the time. Because I think I mean, obviously what you have and what you're selling is like amazing. People keep buying it and you're able to make a living off of it, right? So yeah. I think I would start there probably, is gathering that list.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a great idea.
When you're at events, I mean, obviously you have your iPad or whatever you're doing to take payment. Do you have a window set up where they can enter their email address first and then you can take payment from them?
I don't know. The only thing that we have, so what Square does is we have it set up like a store, right? You know, we put in what they've ordered and then it takes us to the checkout, and then we can send them a text or we can send them an email, but everything is like stars, 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 stars. And then it gives us it gives us the first 3 numbers or the first 3 letters of their email or their phone number, but we never can see their phone number or full phone number or email.
Okay, something just occurred to me. I set up something for Daphne and myself as a temporary holdover when we were trying to sort through some ClickFunnels stuff, because funnels are hard to build up. But I found this place is called Sendowl, I think it's called. And what you can do is you can actually open a link, right? You can have a button on your homepage, on your website, or on anything. Like you could build a free Google website and have it open on your iPad with this button that you just send an URL to this Sendowl account. And when they land there, they can actually pay through that. It's like one step, right? They can enter their email address and then it sends them to the next page where they confirm their order, or, you know, they pick what they're or whatever, or you can have them collect their email and send them to your Square. It could actually redirect them somewhere. I'm wondering if there's a way to kind of link the two. And I think Square integrates with Sendowl.
Yeah, Square integrates with a lot of things. You should be able to see your customer base and customer list.
It's such a shame that Etsy doesn't let you see that.
I had a question for Hope.
No, I saw that hand.
You're okay. Yeah, I know. I was like, can I say something? Have you ever considered, and you can say no, that's fine, catering specifically your product at baby showers or wedding showers? I know right now when they're creating these events, there's like a whole dessert table display where they have like pretzel sticks and they're dipped in chocolate, but I'm also thinking you can do pretzel sticks dipped in your caramel with salt, and just like, even if it's like different 3 platter tray with your caramel on these pretzels, and it's like a tasting almost to where other people can see like, oh wow, she creates these, does she have more, what does she have to offer? And it's also like a foot in the door to, I don't know if you've ever considered that, because I know catering's a little bit, it sounds it can be a little bit like, whoa, that's a lot. But even if it's just like a sample to say, well, I have this package and it's a 3-platter package and it comes with salted caramel pretzel sticks, or it comes with whatever your product is at the time. So just something that you could maybe consider, and maybe just for your local area. Not so much sending that out online, but in your area, get your business out there and promote just again. And it's a platform that's like, people are there to have a good time, but as they're, you know, tasting your things, it's like, oh, wow, these are really good. Where'd you get these? And then you offer your other products. Bye, Daphne.
Yeah, bye. Thank you for your information. That was great input, Daphne.
But have you ever considered that?
No, I haven't, but that's something that would be interesting, I think. Because I think that's something that I could do. And even if I did it, you know, a couple times locally, just to try it out, just to kind of like get my feet wet and see what that looks like. Yeah. But that's interesting. Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I'm going to write that down.
Nice.
So your busiest time of year is basically now through the beginning of the new year in terms of production?
Yeah, because we have events every week in July. We've got a couple coming up in August, and then starting in September, we go until Christmas.
Okay.
Like there is no
I see
very little breathing room.
Well, then maybe because this is your busiest time and because this is sort of where you're going to be bringing in the revenue to close out the year, maybe this is a time where you spend, I don't know, brainstorming brainstorming, sort of planning for what starts in January for the lull. And I'm sure you do that already, but kind of like coming up with maybe like Jill was saying, like places where perhaps you could get in the door with other people and, you know, get your product out there a little bit. I mean, you know, it's so interesting while you're sitting here talking. I have a good friend. Her name's Madeline, and she is the owner of Nut Pods. I don't know if any of you know Nut Pods. It's a dairy-free creamer. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this and I'm like, wow, you know what? I bet she has some really great tips because she started small in her own kitchen. You know, that's how she started. And then she had a small commercial kitchen where they did the production. Then they staged it from there. But Madeline's this amazing networking genius. I mean, she really is. And I'm not as good at that. And I just saw her. I just picked her up from the airport on Monday. So I got to spend a little bit of time with her, catching up on where her business is now, like 7 or 8 years out, and how it's exploded. I'm wondering if you wouldn't like connecting with her, perhaps.
I would.
Maybe I could ask her to be on one of these during the week, so you guys could do like a Q&A with her and ask her a few things about how she did this step by step, because I think she's been in the product-based business growth platform where I haven't and Daphne hasn't. You know, we're not, she's making her own product like you're making your own product.
Right.
She marketed it the way you want to, and they started on Kickstarter. I mean, they started with zero budget, right?
Yeah.
They had to scrape it along as they could, but she's very clever in ways that I'm perhaps not, in terms of coming up with ways to schmooze with the right people and meet the right people and introduce herself correctly and be involved in the same events. And it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears for her. It was a significant investment of time on her part, as well, which you're already giving your business, right? So, but I'm going to reach out to her. She's traveling, but I'm going to reach out to her and see whether she would be willing to come in and maybe talk to us on Tuesdays, you know, and
yeah, that'd be great.
Because I think a lot of us could glean some inside value from that, including myself.
Hope, I had another question. I don't mean to interrupt you, Maggie. I'm so sorry. I don't know if you've ever heard of something called Tiff's Treats. I know we have them here in San Antonio, but it's a cookie company, and they make boxes of cookies, different flavors, different types, and then they will go and deliver them to schools, job places. If you order them for your boss or your employees, they have a delivery service with their Tiff's Treats, and online you can place your order and you can put the kind of cookies that you want, whether it's like chocolate chip, macadamia nut, white chocolate, oatmeal raisin, and then you can design the box. So if it's like a happy birthday box, you select the happy birthday. If it's teacher appreciation, it's teacher appreciation. If it's nurses week, but they're really like quick gifts. And I saw that I was looking at your reviews. I went onto your site, I was checking it out, and they were saying these were great teacher appreciation gifts. The teachers love them. I saw others that were like, my mom loves them, but like, kind of like a gift box idea, because you take care of the whole packaging, you know. It's already like folded, done, sealed, tastes good, you know, and that's why we did it for our niece in Houston. We found a Tiff's Treats and we sent her like half a dozen of, and they come to her warm. That's the other thing. Oh my God. Yes. They come to you warm. You want a glass of milk when you have Tiff's Treats, and they're delicious. They like melt in your mouth. And I was like, this is so good. I that led me to ordering some for my niece over there in Houston, and I had them here in San Antonio. And so I was thinking, you know, even with your company, maybe if you had like a prepackaged box and it's for Nurses Week, or don't forget Teacher Appreciation Week, or Principals Week, and just thoughtful thing. Because I know your busiest time, like you said, is the fall to December. But then we're looking at that January, February, March, April, May. I know there is like something to celebrate from January to May. Like everybody has a month, like Administration Month and Bosses Week, and I don't know what else. But again, just that whole like gifting idea that you can run with and have that prepackaged box, even if it's a birthday gift, you know, and putting a package of 15 caramels together for whatever price you want to market, but then it's there. And then possibly if it goes further than that, looking at, we can deliver the caramels to you or to the place that you want them to be delivered at, so it can be a nice surprise. So just ideas like that. Sorry, Maggie, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's a great idea.
All right.
Well, that's super exciting, Hope. I love hearing about how these things are kind of moving along, and you know, like keep us posted on this. And while we're sitting here, like a ton of ideas are swirling around in my head, and you know, it's wedding season here, and you know, sometimes those events can be a little hit or miss. But I'm wondering how we could get you in as like with a photographer, because photographers, like, you know, they're going to share their favorite vendors for weddings, right? And DJs are going to share their favorite venue, like they're going to share their favorite products for weddings. Like, I'm wondering how we could kind of find avenues, or you could find avenues, not me. I'm sorry, I'm not your business. Sorry. You could find avenues where like you kind of find those really sweet ins with people who say, you know what? Yeah, like I do. I'm a custom tailor. You know, you should take this card from me. This is for Hope's Caramels. You should have those as gifts for your wedding gifts. Or like you should take care of this. Or you get in with even catering companies that are like, you know what, you know, this month you should really consider, this month they're doing this caramel. You should. I'm wondering how you could do that so you could get these bulk orders and even just get your name out there, because the more your name's out there, the less marketing you have to do for yourself online every single day.
Right.
Because
I didn't have to do, you know, for the first, I don't even know how many years, I really didn't do any marketing. I didn't even have a website. I had nothing, but it was all word of mouth. And I couldn't believe how quickly we grew. And there's still word of mouth, of course, but to the size that we want to be, you kind of can't just ride on the back end of word of mouth. You've got to do more than that. And so we're kind of in that point where we're like, okay, it's got to be more than just word of mouth. Now we're at festivals, and now we're, you know, in certain stores, and we're doing social media, you know, all those things. So
so cool. Very exciting. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
How about you, Mike? What you been up to this week? Well, he's been on vacation, actually. He's been having a grand old time. Oh, wait, you're muted.
Yeah, I was on vacation, and it was a true vacation. I really didn't do any work, which was nice. And just coming back and getting back into the swing, it was very odd because Karen, my wife, went to work to the office for the first time in almost 27 months.
Wow.
So it was really, it was interesting for her and interesting for me because she doesn't drive. So I drove her there. And so that was kind of an interesting experience. So, but I was meeting today with, you know, Eric Woods, Maggie. And so he is like me. He's been self-employed most of the time. So we were really just kind of encouraging each other to look for new ways, for other ways to share kind of what we know and what we've learned. Because you can either say, boy, I'm an old guy, or you can say, hey, gee, I'm an experienced and knowledgeable guy, and really offer people things of value. So we were both had a good talk, and encouraging me to definitely get moving on this career coaching thing, which I have been talking about for a long time. But now is more within reach. So that really is kind of what I'm doing, keeping busy with my clients, but really need to put together my own plan and my own program for starting a career coaching program of some kind. So I need that, gentle kick in the rear to say, let's do it. Let's get it going, because it truly is what I enjoy doing. It truly is. The writing is what I get paid to do, and it's what I'm skilled at. But the career coaching thing is what excites me.
Yeah. And I don't know, Hope, if you know this, or Jill, but he was actually my career coach for several years, like two and a half.
Yeah, about 2 years. Yeah.
And he's an evil genius over there. His brain, it works in ways that mine doesn't. And even recently with MarketU, he's been working with us on some of the the aspects of branding our own company, because as ironic as that sounds, and positioning our company, when it's your baby, it is actually a whole different beast. And because we're dealing with something that we're so comfortable with, and we have all these terms and shortcut words and slow things in our mind, or acronyms for things that the rest of the world doesn't have a clue what we're talking about, that sometimes we have trouble figuring out exactly how to get our message out. And so, yeah, he's had invaluable insight for us on that. He has his own little mic plan, which I don't know if he ever wants to share with anyone, but it's really great. And I even built the spreadsheet for him, and we, it's pretty cool. So I can't wait to see what happens with your business this year and the years following, because you have such a gift. You have so much to offer.
Kind of you to say.
No, it's true. It's very true.
Well, the mic plan thing, and it really is, and I'll share it with you because it really is actually, I think, something that is of value. And here's what it is essentially. At any one time, you can say, you sit down and say, I could go 5 different directions in looking for a new job or a new career. Let's take a graphic designer. Just a graphic designer can be on their own. They can work for an agency. They can work for a corporation. They can partner up with agencies. They can become creative directors, art directors. So what you do is, if you have somebody says, I've always wanted to do X, own my own business, or work at Disneyland, or go to the next thing. What I created, and I started by doing it for myself, is you put all these possibilities on a line. And then there's a series of questions that I ask that goes across the top, like 10. And are you prepared for this? Are you ready for this? Would it work for you? What's your chance of success? Do you really want to do it? Will you do what it takes to get there? And as you answer those questions and you look at your entry and you put a score between 1 to 10 and you're honest with it, you begin to realize what's more realistic and what isn't. And you end up with numbers by each one. And not that you have to follow those numbers, but it kind of says you just kind of ranked your own ideas. And it can really prevent you. Like I was telling someone this morning, this is a really interesting thought. I know a guy, and I'm career coaching him right now. And people they suggested it. Why don't you learn coding, computer coding? It's pretty worthwhile. It pays pretty well. You can take a course and learn it within, 6 weeks or 8 weeks. I'm not quite sure. And there's high demand and you can work from home. Sounds great on paper. But if you were to put that in that thing and answer those questions, it would rank very low. And indeed, I said, well, how's that working out for you? He goes, oh, I can't get myself to do it. I have a hard time getting around to it. I keep putting it off. It's harder than I thought. And it's like, yeah, that's not really the direction to be going. It's one of those things where it's like, it sounds good, until you actually analyze it and realize this isn't going to work. And the faster you can kind of eliminate things that are not likely to succeed and can focus on what is more likely to succeed, the better off you are. Having said that, you can still make the decision to go after what ranks lowest, but you just be aware that it's an uphill battle. So it's an interesting tool. And Maggie and I, the story with Maggie is when I first met Maggie, secret be told, she was not liking the work she's doing now. In fact, she wanted to get away from it as fast as possible. And it ranked low.
Yeah, sorry, it did. It ranked low. I think it was the work I was doing and who I was doing the work for. And so it was kind of a combination of my lack of enthusiasm for what I actually love doing. And then also, Candi, I'm just going to mute you. And it was a lack of love for that, and because of the situation that I found myself in terms of my boss. And so it poisoned my joy for everything I had learned how to do. And then once I got a little bit removed from that, and I was no longer, I was my own entity and really on my own, everything changed, so there is a really big mindset thing. Like Mike's right. Like I was not in a position where I thought I would still be doing this in 2022. I didn't think I'd still be doing it in 2018. Right. Like,
yeah. But in a year later, when we first did it, you said, can I put any scores less than 0? A year later, it had changed to all 10s. And you actually said, can I put anything greater than 10?
mm-hmm.
Your whole focus had changed because you realized that you were good at it, that you actually knew a lot.
Right.
And it was of value.
Yeah. And this is great. I mean, I think, Mike, like we should talk about having you on a Tuesday for the VIP group where you could actually showcase this, your Mike plan to everyone that's in that group. Because I mean, there's just so much, it's simple. And at the same time, it's absolutely, it just brings out, it's like the truth telling serum. Like really, you can't, if you answer the questions on there correctly, like accurately, in terms of where you really are, it's figured out pretty quickly for you, where your mindset is, where, if your passion is where you are, or if you even should be doing this, if it's something that you're even really good at, I think that would be really cool. So think about it, no pressure, but I think a lot of people would really enjoy seeing that and kind of walking through it themselves. Not that we're trying to talk you out of the business, you already have, but it's a really interesting tool, and very effective. So
it's only not worked for one guy, and that's because he can't answer anything honestly. I think he could put down, circus clown and bull rider and, investment hedge fund manager. And he would say, oh, I'd be good at that. Yeah, I'd be willing to put in the work. Oh yeah, I think I'd make a lot of money. Everything was the same to him.
Okay.
And he really couldn't, he had no discernment on that. Everything was the same. And that's the only time that it really didn't work, but that's all right. That was the, and I found that really interesting to say, well, that's okay. That's okay. If he kind of follows his dreams that way, and that's all right. So it's just to give you ideas. It's not to say this is what you need to do, but it really does kind of help.
It does help. So are you thinking about using that or a sort of a close clone to that moving forward? Or is it, how do you envision using that tool with potentially new clients?
I don't, I bust it out at the right time. It really, someone has to, if someone doesn't really know what they want to do, how they want to move ahead, and they have different ideas, that's kind of when I go there. Like the guy I'm working with right now, he just wants a promotion at his current job. And so there's no need to do anything like that. That's what I'm helping him with. There was a guy that I was working with not long ago who, it was really funny. He wanted to abandon his career and everything that he'd done the past 14 to 15 years. He goes, I don't want to do it anymore. And I said to him, that's okay. He was already in his early 60s, but it's going to be hard for you to try and get into a new direction. If you want a job, which you wanted, it would be better for you to stay in this realm. But he didn't want to. He goes, I absolutely don't want to do what I've been doing. So it's like, that's fine, good. So, it's a matter of, but at least we got him to say that. That was the important part. He got to the point where he said, I just really feel this way. It might have even scored high, but it's like, I don't want to do it anymore. So anyway.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it is.
To me, this would be a great thing for like high schoolers getting ready to graduate, going into college. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these kids go in to college, and then when they leave, how many people are not even doing what they went to school for, because they really don't know what they want, and nobody asks those questions. Nobody does. I mean, I think about my son who's, going to computer science, and this is something he's done forever, but I see how much he loves it because he works in it all the time. He's constantly doing things. Now, my daughter, on the other hand, she had talked about wanting to be a teacher. She talked about that for ever and ever and ever, but, and then she started it started to change a little. Now she's talking about wanting to be a neonatal nurse, which is great. Well, starting in the fall, she's going to be doing Del Tech, half at school and then half at Del Tech, where she'll be doing some kind of nursing type classes in her junior year. That will help her decide, do I really want, but how many kids have that opportunity, right? So you have some kids that end up leaving high school and they have no idea really what it is they want to do, or even once they leave college, because nobody's saying or showing them like, hey, is this really what you want to do? Is this, like, what's your number, 0 to 10? Like, where do you fall in here? Because I think that's just brilliant. I would have loved for somebody to ask me this question.
No, even when I went into college, I went in for dental hygienist, and I was prepared to be a teeth cleaner. And then I saw what I was going to have to face. And then I went into occupational therapy. I changed my major about 3 times. I have a major in ELA and a minor in Spanish, and I am a teacher for math. So it just, right, when you said she's going to teach, I'm just teasing, but I will tell you that teaching is a true calling. And not everybody will say yes. And there's times that I've talked with teachers and I look at them because they're so young. And I said, baby, if you're here for a paycheck, you're here for the wrong reason. I said, because teaching is a genuine calling. You have to wake up every day and say yes to the calling you're about to answer with these. And it's junior high that I teach. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's so hard. I love it. I really, they're so funny. But that's just me. That's me in my 7th year of teaching junior high. I've been in education for 12 years. Wow. But again, speaking on my major was nothing to do with math, but that's what I've been teaching for the past 7 to 8 years. I have an ELA background. I went in for occupational therapist. I went in for dental hygienist. I changed it 3 times while in that. And I even went to a technical college. So when we're talking about computers and stuff, I'm like, oh, I can tell you all about computers because I did that in college, but it does even help the career mindset. And I have to remind some of the teachers that come in, it's like, if you're here for a paycheck, I will tell you the honest truth. These kids will know, and they will know who is genuinely there for them and who is genuinely there just to pick up a paycheck and do their job and be done. And I said, no. And honestly, junior high is a very vulnerable stage. It really, really is. Yeah. And they will tell you to their face, and again, I love what I do. I think it's, to me, it's so much fun just to hear them and to talk to them and the stories that they tell me. But yes, if they could, and we ask them that our school that I work for, an Idea Public Schools. I don't know if you know them, but they're an up and coming charter school, been in the system for about 20 years. And we're college for all. So from a very early on age, we are asking these kids, what college do you want to go to? And a lot of them who have no idea about college they always tell me, I want to go to ATM. I go, that's not a college, but I think you mean Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But right away, ATM, I'm like, oh, I like that one. I go there every day. But teaching them what a college is, what a university is. I'm also very open to going to a certificate, getting a certificate in welding or mechanics, or to be more career oriented. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-year university, even though we highly encourage it, but also for a technical school where they will get in there and get right back out, because some of them are already needing to earn money for their family. And that's just the situation. But having somebody, like you had said, Hope, talk to them and say, I wish somebody would have done that to me, because I changed my major like 3 times and I still don't teach according to my major. Like, I'm learning math, and I hated math all through high school and junior high. I hated math, but here I am teaching it, hoping that I teach it in a way that children will love it someday. And even at the end of the year, I still have students that go, Miss Deco, you're an amazing teacher, but I hate math. I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. There are support groups for this now. Back then, we didn't have access to them. Now you do. You will be fine.
Yeah.
So that'd be great. Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's a lonely thing when you're looking for a job or when you're unhappy at work. It's just a lonely thing, and people need someone to come along beside them. So, and it always starts the same way with me in the past. In fact, I think it was this way with you, Maggie, when you're probably sharing with Christian or Katie, and then Christian probably said, oh, you should talk to my dad. And that's kind of how it always went. And
that's exactly right. I think I was talking to Christian. He's like, girl, you need to talk to my dad. Like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause it's like,
that's how we met. We met through your son.
Right.
Because we all go to church together, and then we found out he lives in the same complex, or lived in the same complex that we did. We're like, we're neighbors. And then, and then he's like, oh, and I was just sharing stuff. And you're right. He did. He's the one that told me you should talk to my dad.
Yeah. Talk to your dad. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So
and that's how it works. So I need to run. I've got my,
no, that's great. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. And yeah, well, maybe down the road, if someone wants to learn more about it, I can give them the idea. I can even kind of share the process. So you can do it. You can work with your own people that you know. And so, yeah. And I think it's a kind of thing where, Maggie, to answer your question, maybe there's a book there. As a writer, I should have, I live with a proofreader and editor, so I should have no trouble getting a book done.
Yeah.
As long as I give her 90%,
right?
90% of the proceeds are hers, and everything will work.
Oh my gosh.
That's how it is. So, all right. Well, I look forward to seeing you all next week.
Yeah, we'll be on next week.
Okay. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, Candi, how are you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, you guys, for being so late.
Hi. No,
I've been swamped. I've had 8 spiritual renewals this week, which is nuts. Okay, 4 is comfortable, and 6 is usually my max. I'm super tired, but God is good. So sorry I ran late with a client. So
no. That's so cool. So how you say you usually do 4 a week?
I'm comfortable with 4 because of all the other things that I'm doing. So you've got, I'm taking art class together, trying to, implement that, meetings, ministry, just all the different things. So for actually doing the renewals would take a lot out of me because they're long and, you know, emotionally, spiritually long. Just, anyways.
So I went to Candi's spiritual spa the weekend.
Mhm. Yeah.
It
Spa.
was,
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. Yeah. I'll have to share a little more of it in the group. Sorry.
Awesome.
I'll let you do the talking.
Who, me?
Yeah. Tell us about the spirit. Tell everyone about the spirit.
Okay, because we're cutting out, so it's like we're on I just kind of hard to hear you. I think I shared about this before, but the spa is one of the ministries under Life in the Spirit, and it's a group of gifted, full of Jesus, spirit-filled, mature individuals. And we have 2 different teams. One room is a prayer room, where we all have kind of different specific jobs. I do the scrub, which is the just cleaning up any lies or things that might hinder somebody from receiving their healing, unforgiveness, repentance, stuff like that. Then the prayer team, and then a person who does a blessing. And then the other team, there are people who have the gift of prophecy, and so they speak prophetic words, and one of them does a prophetic art, painting or drawing for the person. So what was that like for you, Maggie?
It was fantastic. Wait, can you mute yourself just while I'm talking?
Yeah. Somehow.
See, she muted. So the way it worked was, like she said, we went from room to room, and the first room I was in was where the prophetic drawing happened, and it was really interesting. Actually, it was a little overwhelming because she drew something almost exactly what God had asked me, had reminded me about through one of my own photos almost 2 weeks before. And so I'll post both photos in the small business marketing group, just so you guys, or maybe I'll post them in the messenger. I'll see where I'm going to post them. But basically, you know, I have this photo of myself over a lake in Bishop, California, and I'm kind of looking up at the sky. The sun's shining on me, but it's snowing in the mountains in front of me. And one of the words that God says to me over and over and over and over and over again, that I somehow am a little bit too hard-headed to hear, is the word exhale. Like, trust me, you can exhale. Like, you can just exhale and know that I'm in control, right? And so 2 weeks prior, he had kind of he kept nudging me to do that because I was just getting worked up about stuff. And so I did. And he's like, he basically told me what he wanted me to do with that. And so that photo with the word exhale written in cursive is on every one of my computer screens everywhere. And I've ordered a copy of it to hang up on the wall. So when I'm not looking at my computer screen, I remember what he's commanded me to do. And so I went into this prophetic, the prophetic room where they were doing speaking over me, and the drawing that the lady drew is unbelievably similar. It's just crazy. She has no idea who I am. She wasn't even listening to the people behind, like, she was listening to the people behind her, but she had already started drawing this the moment I sat down. Like, the outline was already there before the people behind her began talking about water in motion, began talking about you know, God encouraging me to find peace there. You know, I saw it, and she had her back to them. They can't see what she's drawing. You know, only God can work that way. And it was really powerful for me because it was a reminder that when I choose to let go of my stubbornness and my willfulness and my disobedience in some cases. And I just hand it over to him. And I trust that he actually does have a plan here, whether I can see it or not. And the only thing he's asking me to do is trust, exhale and trust. And so, yeah, it was really, really powerful. It was very powerful. And then I moved to the next room where Candi was, and three other lovely women who kind of spoke truth into me. And like you said, they all asked me very pointed questions about where I was and what I've been processing. And it caught me off guard a little bit because they had so much insight that I don't have myself, because we're all like that, right? Like we can all look into someone else's life and perhaps, be like, whatever, like that person's got so much going, like look at the energy that they have when they're giving people love from the Lord. Look at how much they pour into that person, but that person themselves may not see that about themselves, right? The positive or the negative side of it. Like, wow, that person walks around like they've got 1,000 pounds on their shoulders. Like, but I wouldn't necessarily see it if that was me, because I'm the one walking. So it was absolutely unbelievably healing. And so I was just blown away. I didn't know what to expect because I hadn't been there before, and I've actually never been to anything like that ever. It was so healing. It really was. It was like going to the spa. I walked out of there, and for the entire day, I felt like I weighed probably 3 pounds. Like there was so much weight lifted off of me. And it's just so much confirmation, but also I had to confront some areas of my life, but there was this overwhelming peace that came with it that was like, I've got you. Like I am walking right beside you the whole way. Like you can trust this. You can trust that I sent you here today because I needed you to hear that. I need you to keep trusting me and keep exhaling, because you will only grow. Like I can only help. You can only say you're walking with me if you're actually walking with me. If you're trying to walk the other way and drag God's hand, yeah, God's like, he's immovable. He's perfect. It's not that he leaves you on that path, but if you're going to go and choose to do something that's against his will, he's not going to like cheerfully lead you there, like it's not the way it works. So, yeah, it was extremely healing. So yeah, thank you for that, Candi. And you guys should check out her website. I know she's put a few things on, both pages, I believe, both the Small Business Marketing Solution group, but also, the VIP group, where she's shared more about, this. And it's absolutely, it's an incredible ministry. And you know what, Candi, this has been so good for me, all of you, Hope and Jill, now you're on here, and Mike and Jen and Dina, everyone that hops on here, learning about your businesses and learning about what other people are doing by speaking with them is so different than following someone on social media. It's just that connection that we all need to be able to get in front of other people and just talk about it and share that. And I think that during COVID and, even before COVID, but especially during COVID, we lost a lot of that ability to be in front of people on a regular basis, because there's so much more you can impact. Through the Lord, but also, through your business when you are face to face, or, and this is a poor substitution for being in the same room, but it's the substitution we have, right? But we lost that. And I don't think we realized as community how important that was. And so it was a really good reminder to me of how much is out there I don't know about my friends' worlds, and even though I've worked with Candi on her website, getting a few things updated, I didn't really know this. I didn't know the depth of it. And so this gave me a completely different side of that I wouldn't have had if we hadn't, all been jumping on these things and sharing a little bit. The door might have been open, but it's a different door that I was allowed to walk through. So I'm grateful for you guys coming on here and sharing every single week, because I have learned so much from you.
That was an awesome testimony. Thank you. That makes me very happy. Super blessed.
Well, it's true. All right. Well, I'm just going to wrap up and say, have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.